afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to our Wednesday lunch segment. Welcome to Pastor Lamont. Thank you for coming along today. Thank you, everyone who is joining us, whether it's a Wednesday lunch, whether it's an evening, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, wherever you are, whatever time of the day or night it is. We are so pleased that you could join us today.
Beautiful.
We have a few things going on around the grain shed we're going to talk about, and considering it's January, we do have a little bit happening at the moment, so we'll do that before we head on into a discussion we're going to have afterwards. So we've got a couple of things in the pipeline with what's happening, haven't you?
Yes, we do. Like in January, always with a huge movement of getting the year started. And I don't think we are doing too bad, because at the moment we are busy with our week of fasting and praying.
We are very busy with it.
Yes. So we come together every morning at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then in the evening from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So that would be almost like a mini prayer gathering. But during the day is actually when it should be happening, when you have the time. And some of us do go into a special room that we created for prayer and silence and just reading God's word and reflection. So that can happen anything from 9 o'clock in the morning when the church office opens until 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we close. So we want to invite you, if you are seeing this during this week, we would love you to be a part of our time of prayer and fasting. Talking about prayer and fasting, Jody, how are you doing with that?
Well, I'm eating breakfast, and then I'm fasting until dark.
Okay.
So I'm still eating, I'm still working, so I still have to keep up sort of energy, that sort of thing. I also am addicted to caffeine, so if I stop caffeine, I will end up with migraine headaches. So it's not the time to be cranky with everybody in the office, but it's a time to reflect on God and listen to what He has for us. So I'm trying to be sensible and just make it a time to, when you get hungry and that sort of thing, or when you think you'd like to snack on something, that's the time when you go, no, hang on, this is the time to focus.
On God, yes. Yeah. Yes, it is.
So last night we can't get into dark.
Yes. Dark is quite late in summertime.
It is. And going home by yourself, work is fine, you're busy and that sort of thing, you just busy yourself with something else. But going home and going, 3 more hours.
3 more hours.
Yes.
It's like picking up stones and just throwing at the sun. Go down.
Yeah. But I think it's good, and I can well afford to fast a little bit more. So, how about you? What are you fasting, and how are you feeling?
I am fasting in the mornings. I am fasting lunchtime sometimes. Yesterday afternoon I felt a bit tired, so I realized that I didn't eat in the morning.
Yes.
So today I also came early to church for prayer, and so I didn't eat this morning at time of fasting. Yep. And most probably would do that lunchtime too. It all depends on what my body can do and see how far I can push it. And but taking that time to devote in prayer and reading God's word. So it will work from day to day. I trust the Lord. There were times that I prayed for fasted for days, but that usually does not happen with me.
No, and it's a while since I've done this, and I normally do the full gamut, turn the phone off, no TV, no internet, no nothing sort of thing, but I'm not working, so I'm not expending that much energy either.
Yes.
And I think if you are looking at doing it, you do need to be sensible with what you're doing. We're not trying to make you fall over faint from not eating.
Yes.
But I do think of the people in the Bible where we see that they prayed and fasted for days.
For days.
Esther for 3 days before she went and presented herself to the king, not knowing if she was going to be spared alive or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Nehemiah, as you were talking about, it didn't say how long, but it said for days.
He fasted for days, yes. I had a devotion yesterday evening. I do it online with my grandchildren in Melbourne. So we read, and I read to them about the temptation of Jesus, and also explained to them the 40 days of fasting.
Yes.
So fasting plays a very important role. It should be, because Jesus himself said, you don't fast while I'm here, but there will come a time when the bridegroom is not here, and my children will fast. And the disciples, when we do fast, something we can do more. But we invite you to be a part of our prayer. We want you, even if it's just at home, spend a couple of minutes more in prayer. So what I've done, if you're on Facebook, and I hope that you are, I've subscribed to our Facebook page. On our Facebook page in the mornings or in the evenings, I'll write down a couple of prayer points with which will guide you to pray about. So this morning I sent out a couple of prayer points too. And I hope that will help you. That we can just be on the same page. And if sometimes people want to pray and they say, I don't know what to pray for. Well, those are just a couple of ideas that you can pray for. Prayer stimulating thoughts.
I think that was on the newsletter as well. There was a list of what we can pray for each day, and that's the thing.
Yes. So grab your newsletter. If you're not on Facebook, grab your newsletter that was emailed to you and pray according to that which Robin has placed in the newsletter for us.
Also, just before we move off that one, Bila, as you were talking about Jesus going into the wilderness after he fasted for 40 days, the enemy will try and attack us anyway.
Yeah.
As he tried to attack Jesus. So if you're feeling down or weak for any reason, he will try and get in anyway. So just be aware, if you are fasting, that just as much as you're trying to come closer to God, he's going to try and wedge his little way in there as well. So just be aware of that as you're doing it as well.
And his biggest battlefield is in the mind.
Yes.
Where he attacks us. So, and I can experience, I can testify about that.
Yeah.
Because I feel extremely agitated, negative, and although my spirit says to me, be positive, my mind is constantly going, and it's a warfare.
It is.
It is a spiritual warfare that we're in. So hang in there, just draw closer to God, surrender and submit, and I tell you, through this power and the Spirit of God, you will be somehow lifted up and encouraged and keep on going. Don't expect this to be a walk in the park. It's not why we're here. It's a battle, and we are entering into the domain where the enemy wants to hold on to, and we want to have some of the stuff that he has. We want souls to be brought into the kingdom of light. We want our church to be blessed, and the thing that he does sometimes to influence the work here at the church, we want that to be broken. So keep on praying there and hold on to it.
And put on the full armour of God, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Ephesians chapter 6 and you will see that.
Yes. And
that really helps mentally, just putting it on even with your hands.
Yes,
and
yes.
It really helps.
You sound like Erna now. She does it that way. Beautiful.
But we've got other things happening as well.
Yes, we have.
What else?
Growth groups.
Growth groups.
So last year was a bit of a negative thing for our launching of our growth groups, but this year we're going to start up again. And we're going to try to, while we have the privilege of meeting together, we're going to try to launch a new network of small groups in our church. So not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday of the 21st, when we also have a special guest, we're going to have a launching of our small group. So there will be a banner in the foyer and a desk where you can write down your name to be joining or be part of a small group. We are looking for leaders. If you feel God has called you to be a growth group leader, even if it's just maybe hosting for a certain length of time, and you say, Lamont, I can't do that for the whole year, but I can do it for maybe 2 or 3 sermons that you preach, and I will host and I will invite people. We want to encourage you to do that. So that is our growth group launch on Sunday, the 31st.
31st.
Yes. But there's something else also happening on that Sunday.
There is something very exciting happening on that Sunday.
We're going to have a special guest.
We are. So we have Pastor David Ratton coming up that weekend, and he's going to get together with a few people on the Saturday, and he is going to be preaching to us on the Sunday.
Yes.
Which is very exciting. I know a lot of people here, we've all heard him quite a few times before, and he was up in Redcliffe, I think, near Mildura there for many years. He knows this area.
He knows this area.
Yeah.
And he knows the Grange Shed also.
Yes. So we're looking forward to that.
It's a privilege that we're going to have him. We're having him he's preaching on the Sunday, but we're also having, as you said, for the strategic development team. We are launching a team in our church where we're going to do some new re-envisioning of our church, looking at our church's mission, our vision, and our values, and also creating a strategic plan over the next 6 to 7 months on how we're going to really approach the next 3 to 4 years here at the Grain Shed and what our ministries are going to look like. So that also needs a lot of prayer and support from you guys.
It'll be good. Looking forward to that weekend, what David's got to share with us.
It will be.
Yep. Okay, next week we have Australia Day on a Tuesday. So it's a public holiday still, as far as I'm aware. They've stopped the parade down in Melbourne, but it is still a public holiday. So the office will be closed here at the Grain Shed, but will be open on Monday.
Wednesday, Thursday and Friday.
For the rest of the week, yes.
So, but you may have a day off on Tuesday.
Yes,
I
we do
think
that.
so.
Yep.
Yes, I give you Australia Day.
South Africa just gave you Australia Day.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's about it for what's going on around the Grain Shed in January. If you've got other things happening, then that's great. We've got more programs that we're looking at starting up in February, but watch this space for those that will be coming soon.
Yes.
Okay.
In front of us, we have a document which we read calling, let's call it evangelicals and their perspective, evangelical Christians and their perspective on premarital sex and commitment to relationships. We said that every Wednesday we will have a little bit of a snippet, only 5 minutes. I hope this is going to be 5 minutes, on how evangelicals see it. There has been research by a group called Pew. They are the same as the Barna Research Group. I don't know who's the biggest and where they function in different areas, but Pew did some research on last year in October with regard to Americans, Christians, and premarital sex. And they surveyed up to almost 4,000 people, and they have also surveyed, on top of that, also people who have no affiliation to any Christian religion. So when they talk about Christians, they talk about evangelicals, Protestants, they talk about Catholics, and those type of people. So very interesting things that they have seen and found with regard to it. But then I must mention that the people they interviewed or had this survey with is people that may not, although they have this perspective or they believe, it's not that they say that they practice what they believe.
This is true.
It's just a view that they have. If they would ask him, what would you say about this? That would be their view.
Yes.
It's not to say that they are doing that.
No, and that could have come through many different ways. They may have grown up in a way and then converted or anything like that, or just done things in their past where they've recognised and said, no, that I've and sought forgiveness and that sort of thing. So, yes, their belief and their actions may not.
I mean, I believe two different things, but if you ask my opinion, I would say this is my opinion, what I see around me, and I think so. It may not be things that they are doing. So what they found is that 57% of the US adults who identify themselves as Christians and believe that same-sex can be, that sex can be practiced and is acceptable without being married.
Yes.
Is that so?
Well, I started scribbling. I grabbed my pen after the first paragraph of saying how many people were in the survey. To me, and then they went on and said 49% think that casual sex, not in a committed relationship, is sometimes or always acceptable. That just set off all sorts of alarm bells because there's an emotional connection. When you make love, there is an emotional connection, no matter what.
And a spiritual connection.
Yes, that's right. You're doing something so intimate, you cannot not leave an imprint on the other person. And I don't believe that casual sex actually allows for that sort of thing. There is still a part of you that is left behind, whether it's a part of your soul or spirit or emotions or whatever it is. You can't just have casual sex.
Can't just jump in the bed.
Yep.
Or wherever.
Yes.
And it is actually quite scary if you look at the percentages I mean, 57% says, okay, even if they don't have to be married, either engaged or just have a relationship with the same person, it's fine to have sex.
And this is people that identify as Christians.
Yes, yes.
And came out.
That's scary.
Well, it's, like we were saying before, it's not overly surprising, but to me the actual statistics were really almost shocking.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And other thing that they say that both Christian adults and religious unaffiliated people agree that they expressed they would not approve of just having sexual relationship with somebody that they just met for the first time.
Yes.
That was something that I thought many people would, if they're not Christian, would say that's all right. But it doesn't look like it in their research.
No. Well, 49% said that the religiously unaffiliated said that it was acceptable. And they did say only 19%, but to me, of Christians, thought that having sex on the first date is sometimes or always acceptable. The wording is almost misleading, only 19%, but that is 19% of Christians saying that sex on the first date is acceptable.
Yes.
I would refer people to this book.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. And I made a note on the margin that the prophets, like how many times was Israel compared to adulterous women and that sort of thing? It's spoken about all the way through. There was nowhere in there that is okay.
I can be justified.
No.
No, it is.
Yeah.
But you have also mentioned something interesting when you said that it talks about Christians in general. And then their survey narrows it down to certain categories of religious grouping within Christian denomination.
Yes.
And then it mentions something about evangelical Protestants.
Yeah, they were the least likely to approve of the sexual practices.
Yes.
And I read that paragraph and went, interesting.
Yes.
Where are the Catholics?
Yes.
I found them in the next paragraph.
Can you maybe read the next paragraph?
Certainly. So the next one said only 36% said that casual sex was sometimes or always acceptable. This contrasts with 54% of mainline Protestants, 56% of Protestants in the historically black tradition, and 62% of Catholics. Oh, hang on. I read it wrong. Least likely to approve.
Least likely to approve, yes.
So, yes, that's where they came in. So,
yes.
We found them. Yes. But, yeah. There's a difference between what people see as a committed relationship and being married. Yes. You stand up and get married before God. You commit yourself to a partner before God. You make those vows before God. We can't marry people without taking a course and getting accredited and all that sort of thing because of the regulations and because as a religious organisation it's different to a civil celebrant as well.
Exactly.
And it's something that is taken that seriously still by the state.
Yeah.
And
yes, even the state, that's why they have de facto partners, and because people just live together and the ramifications of just in a month from now or a year from now, I just move away. What about the children? What about property and all those type of things? So government needed to step in to create some kind of a rule there.
yes.
Yeah. And it says that they observe that the gap between Christians and unaffiliated is less stark when it comes to premarital sex commitment. 46% of evangelical, 46%. That's almost half.
Yep.
Of evangelical Protestants said that sex in a committed relationship is sometimes or always acceptable. Yeah, that is shocking, Jody.
It is. It is. Like I said, I'm not shocked by the fact that some people are, but by the sheer number of the people surveyed.
So half of those Christians that would have qualified themselves, would see themselves as evangelical, and I would say evangelical is very conservative, very traditional.
Yes.
They would say it's fine. Half of them would say almost it's fine to have, if I have a relationship with somebody, I'm engaged, before I get married, I can have sex, and I'm going to get married anyway. And then others say, listen, I have just the same commitment towards somebody else. And I have family like this. I have family who live like this. It's sad, and it's almost embarrassing to say that, but you have people around you, friends that I know, that are very loving, very kind. They come to church sometimes. It just also puts, now we're not supposed to talk about this now, but where does the church step in with church discipline? I'm not going to talk about that. Let's just throw that one out. And people may say, oh, they don't want to don't tackle the tougher ones. Yeah, this is not the forum for tackling the tougher ones, but it makes me think as a pastor in a church, if people just throw, as you have said, God has put marriage there as a blessing and a protection on families. It is the cornerstone of community. The family is the cornerstone on which community is built, and the health of that family, and the way that God has structured that and has placed marriage there as a huge brick into that wall, which I can almost say like a cornerstone, which it's built on. It's a cornerstone which is built on.
And God intended husband and wife, to enjoy that relationship.
Yes.
And to me, there's something that is fantastic about learning and enjoying together as a married couple. Going through, after you married, Song of Songs together, working through that one.
Yeah.
But enjoying that journey of getting to know one another on an intimate level.
Wonderful.
After you're married.
Of course, yes. That's what it's about.
Well, it is, and God bless men and women with this way. But yes, it does say that man will leave his family and
and they will become one.
Yes.
And maybe lastly, quickly, I'm looking at this and I think to myself, where I've read something here between people that go to their views on sex outside and inside marriage, and their attendance of church.
Yes, that one was very interesting. Yeah. So they're saying that people that attended more often,
at least once a month,
were more likely to disapprove of premarital sex.
Yes.
And that just came back to me as that whole iron sharpens iron, and if you've got the coal out of the fire, then it's just going to die, basically. So the way to encourage one another, to discipline one another, to learn from one another, and even learn from one another's mistakes, is to have that fellowship with one another.
That is correct.
And to come and listen to the sermon.
Yes, so in a large extent, we can say that being part of a Christian fellowship, often iron sharpens iron, and I think also the fact that we speak into each other's lives, iron sharpens iron, and also the preaching of the word, that people get, I can almost say, purified, washed, cleansed by the word, and the way that if you move away, that bounds to not happen that often in your life. It's like having a fire, when we do a barbecue and there's coals.
Yes.
You take one coal away, you leave it away from the others, it dies down quicker when you're not together with the others.
Definitely.
Yes.
I would like to say, though, just at the end of this, that this is opinions and beliefs, and it's by no means a judgment on anybody. But if anyone would like to talk to us about anything that we're talking about in these conversations, we decided we would talk about topical conversations. So please feel free to come and talk to us, and please don't feel personally judged. If you feel personally challenged, then feel free to contact us and have a chat to us.
Our only base that we stand on is the word. It's not our personal opinions. We can only stand on the word. And if people have doubts and they feel convicted, they should always go to the Bible.
Yeah, that's it.
What people say is important, but it's not the word. So we always go back, as Jody has picked up the Bible in the beginning and said, this is where it's all based on. We believe what God's word says.
Yeah.
And That's our desire, that people live according to the Word. And we want to help you. If you have listened to this, maybe some advice you would like to give other people and say, I don't know what to do. How can I help other people? You can just call us. And we would love to support you in giving guidance to other people, that they can also live according to the Word and be fulfilled in their own lives and live according to the Word of God and what Jesus wants for them.
And perhaps have a happier and more fulfilled, intimate life with a partner because it's been blessed by God with those vows.
Absolutely. Debbie, thank you for a wonderful discussion this afternoon.
Thank you. Yes.
And I hope you guys also enjoyed that. And we want to encourage you to keep on watching our Wednesday afternoon segment, because this is when we share what's happening around the grain shed and also interesting topics that we discuss, and some of them will be as interesting, sometimes more, and maybe sometimes hopefully not as loaded as this one, but it is good to set the benchmark, and we hope that you're going to have a wonderful afternoon.
Yeah.
God bless and keep well.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We will see you again next Wednesday. And yes, have a wonderful week, and Pastor Lamont will be back on Friday for a devotion.